This is CG Talks, the podcast where CG guys talk about CG.
This podcast is powered by GarageFarm.net, a place where 3D cloud rendering is incredibly fast and cheap.
Here we are back with Grant Osborne, motion designer from Australia, Melbourne, and we're discussing all things CG related in our podcast CG Talks, the podcast where CG guys talk about CG. So one thing that happened in the CG world last month, and it was August, was the next challenge from Punisher, the YouTuber Clint.
I was wondering how you say his name. So it's Punisher, is it?
I say Punisher, but I don't know really how to read that. Like it's PW. I don't. I can't even spell it. I think it's Punisher, but I don't know. It's okay, it's supposed to be Punisher. It's supposed to be Punisher, but like written differently. So, yeah. There's
hacker.
I guess everyone knows the name, and his 3D challenges have been quite big on YouTube at least. People might have seen the mega montages of like Infinite Journeys, or the one with the ball falling through a great mega contraption. Really cool. So the results were really impressive, and this time it was like it was called Moving Meditations, and that's really how I found your work online, and I really loved your entry. Right now, the competition is already like resolved, so we can all say how it went for us, because I also participated. and didn't get to the top.
I think it's
100.
Well, there's some stunning stuff in there, and as there would have been, like 3,000 or 4,000 people entered.
Yeah, I think 3,600 total entries. So
oh my gosh,
really a lot.
Yeah. Look,
last time it was 2,000 and a half. So it's.
I'll tell you what, my friend Akira. From work, he showed me these challenges a while back, and I was just absolutely blown away. Like, I didn't even know they were like happening, and I just thought to myself, I was just found it so inspiring. It was just like, they were beautiful, and it was almost like watching. Like I just love challenges that explore everyone's imagination. They just blew me away, and and then I saw the ball challenge. Oh, the ball challenge was the best. It was like the ball dropping through the scene. Oh my gosh, I was like, that was the first time when I saw that. I thought, I should have been in that one. I should have done, I reckon I could have done that one really well. And so I got a heads up this time. I was like, there's a challenge on. Quick, join the Discord and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I got involved, and geez, it was a lot harder than I was expecting.
Yeah.
I think putting the the rigs, the mocap rig in there, just added this a very big, stepping stone for creating a world. So it was like, first you had to pick one of 25 movements, I think it was, it literally took me like almost a week, I think, to just try and knuckle down on which one I wanted to use.
So the ideation phase. Let me briefly recap for the audience. So if anyone doesn't know what the challenge was about, it was the challenge was to create a 3D animation, 3D scene using a pre-made motion capture animations of Tai Chi movements that were captured with a Rococo suit, and they were like provided as the starting point for each of the artists that wanted to participate, and you had to create your own kind of idea out of like using this animation and keeping the particular movement of the camera, so you
Mm.
couldn't touch the camera and the animation. This was the constant, but you could fit your own character into it, and do whatever crazy idea you had for the scene. So
Yeah,
that was the
and
idea.
I think that's the coolest. I think that's the coolest thing. It's just and some people would probably say it's the hardest thing to come up with those ideas from scratch, and you come up with a something that stands out and something that resonates with people. Um, I think, like, from my mind frame, I was just thinking to myself that I really wanted it to be something more along the meditation lines than sort of a kung fu um, sort of thing, and or tai chi, and I think it was it was a lot more difficult to really just knuckle down. Like, I came up with this the laundromat idea earlier on, and then I decided I don't think I was like, I don't know if I like it enough for it to be my entry, and then I played around with like all these other ideas that kind of I didn't really like. So I went, well, at least with the laundromat, I've got something solid that I can try and work on, and yeah, just again, like, trying to figure out the movement that I wanted to use and what the characters should be. I used I initially tried to get some vibes from Mid Journey, so I typed in a lot of like laundromat, meditation stuff. I did find that Mid Journey does not do good laundromats. um, They
Yeah.
do. There was this one interesting frame that they had like a temple in a store that looked very beautiful. But in the end, I was just time wasting. So I thought, I just gotta leave this behind and just try and uh, go full steam on my project. So the initial concept was basically just this, I guess, this amazing magical monk would come and do his laundry in the just this laundromat, but run down laundromat, and yeah, I think that was kind of it. Really, it was just just a bit of fun. Um,
Yeah, I really enjoyed your entry, and like speaking about the amount of entries, like it's really mind blowing. Like seeing the top 100, it's already been released, like the montage of the top 100 artworks, and really, I after seeing that, I thought to myself like it's no dishonor not to be in that top 100, because
oh
probably there were so
yeah,
much other great artworks that didn't really qualify, because there was so much variety, like quality as well, like super high quality animations, like they were looking amazing,
yeah,
like triple A quality, so to speak,
absolutely,
and so much creativity as well, like so much different ideas executed well.
yeah, and I think the thing is that you got to, when it's a challenge or a contest, it's like I think you got to like do it for the right reasons. You know what I mean? And I think if you just try and use every contest as this thing that you're gonna win, you're not gonna you're missing out on the point of the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
point of it, in my eyes, is that the whole world comes together and creates something on the same mind frame, on the same platform,
yeah, exactly, and like
and when you see
learn new
it all
stuff.
together,
Hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
when you see it
and
together,
also
it's a beautiful thing.
like I think really a really cool thing that that Punisher is doing, like it's for the whole community involved in this challenge. Is doing like the montage for of the top 100. It's like kind of like the best artworks there selected, and then he's
Yeah.
doing the mega montage of all the entries that at least were
Do you reckon that
good, good.
what
Yeah,
is that going to be 6 hours with?
yeah, it's going to be
I don't
super
know.
long, but it has been super long for the last challenges, and yeah, if you have
Yeah.
like a time for a binge watch of animations, it's fun, just to see.
Oh,
You can see
absolutely.
like a
I
part of
I
it
think
at least.
I feel like I binge watched the last the moving oh not the moving the one with the train
The
uh
infinite
the
journeys.
Infinite Journeys. I feel like I binge watched that for a couple of hours. Just I was just like so just blown away by just how different everyone's work was, and just yeah, it was just I just found it really inspiring. Even the stuff that um, like wasn't quite developed yet, you could just tell it was like this kind of like like a spark of some greatness and there that just needed time to develop to be amazing. But yeah, like oh man, I love these challenges. They like to me, like it's just I don't know. It's like some people go out there and they ride, and competitions and that makes them feel great. For me, like participating and being a part of the community is it makes me feel so good, and I love to be connected with all the other designers, and like I think you know. Just hearing everyone's comments and everyone's supportive of each other mostly not everyone but mostly everyone
Yeah,
and yeah it's just really nice, it's really cool.
yeah.
So
Like what one thing
big
that I
ups
found.
to Punisher.
Yeah, yeah. And one thing that I found particularly challenging, like, and I took it as one of the goals for the challenge, is because I've executed an idea with a character that I'm developing, like on a side, anyways. Like it's my own design, and I just wanted
Yep.
to finally animate this character. It wasn't really fully ready yet, but I thought this is a nice opportunity to just do something with my private project that I'm keeping on a shelf, and
Yeah, nice.
have fun with it. And the hard thing is like really time management, I'd say, because once you have a family, a full time job, and then like I think that like people that are still in their school times, they maybe find it easier to like jump head on into this kind of a challenge, or if you have
Oh
maybe some vacation time. But doing separating just a few hours a week, or I don't know how much time you can cut out for this kind of a challenge, and doing the thing that from start to finish, it was like I found it really hard, but it was like a really good lesson that I learned. Like if you really stick to
yeah,
a plan, and even if some things are not super polished, but they are kind of in a time frame and just done right,
yeah.
this was like a
One
success
thing I
for
will
me.
mention though is like yeah, I did work. I worked very hard on the project for a couple of weeks, and yeah, like towards the end, like my computer started acting up, and it was just like it was crashing every 5 minutes towards the end of the project, and it was like I felt like, oh my gosh, do I like can I even finish this? It was like the day before the submission date, and I just I had to power through it. I tried everything on the internet to try and stabilize my computer, um, but yeah, in the end, it was very difficult to get that particular challenge out, just from the hardware point of view. Um, and my computer's very relatively new, so I wasn't really sure what was causing it. Some sort of CPU problem. Uh, what I found out. But anyway, yeah, what I was going to say was it was funny because in the end I submitted it at slightly the wrong dimensions, and the minute I realized that, I just thought to myself, rookie error. Really, you spend all that time preparing for it and doing this animation, and I got in touch with one of the moderators, and they were like, you've submitted it. That's your submission. It was very clear, like, the pixel, what pixels it should be, and it was just like it was a very stupid mistake by my part because I down raised it, and I was pumping out little MP4s for previews for some reason. I don't ever do this. Don't ever like export out MP4s because they have to be like a certain resolution to work properly. Anyway, I changed it then, and then when I upscaled it back, I was 10 pixels short of the height, um, which was unfortunate. But then, you know, like, it was a very good lesson for myself. It was like, you know, don't put all this work into a project and then go and do something very silly right at the end of it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
those little technical things and it comes up at work too. Like, you gotta you gotta just check those boxes at the end of the day and make sure that everything's technically right. Um, you can't
Mhm.
send a file away unless it's 100% right.
Yeah, and exactly
So
like
that was
oh, that's yeah, that's hard to sometimes also to let go if get into this situation like that. Like you have to kind of live with that somehow. But
ah, it
if
is
you
what it
are,
is.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and
But
it is what it
technical
is,
issues,
and
exactly. But technical issues with the
yeah,
hardware is like something that's kind of like to be expected some time, in the future.
yeah,
It just will happen. It's just a matter of when, and usually we don't take that into consideration when we're planning a project, right? And yeah, that's
that's right.
that's probably a
I was
problem, right?
I was doing I think I did 3 hours of comp work, maybe four, and I just had it in the place where I wanted it to go, and and there was some sort of like auto save going on, and then it crashed right during that save,
Hmm.
and then it just corrupted that file, and then I was looking back for my autosave files, and then I realized there was like a new version of After Effects, and the autosave was like 20 minutes, and because it was crashing every 10 minutes, it was like it never saved an autosave. So it was just like, yeah, that particular project, like, was, oh man, it almost killed me. Just those technical problems on my end, like, it became less about having fun and just trying to get through it in the end. Um, yes, so it was nice that, like, in the end of it, like, the piece, people enjoyed it. That's always a good result.
Yeah, so maybe
Learned a
that's
lot.
oh yeah, even if these lessons are hard, and I think like the business that we are running here at Garage Farm, which is a render farm. It's like also helping artists to to deal with the deadlines with rendering, right? But this is also it's a solution, but it's also sometimes it has its own issues that people have to be aware of when they are using such a
Oh,
service.
absolutely.
And generally it's like always good to be when you have a deadline to be prepared with at least like, a little bit time for testing, for like pre
Absolutely.
pre-roll, so to speak. Like there's a whole thing that we always advise to clients that it's always good to first run a test render with a step, like at least check a few frames, so that you don't run a full render on a cloud render farm and then pay the full price for it, and just
Oh, absolutely.
when it's rendered, it's like
Yeah,
the
I
money
mean
lost.
that's gospel at work. Like we've got our render farm set up, and like you put something on there that takes a long time to render. If you don't render that first frame out first to make sure it's working, you're in for a bit of pain. But yeah, I was just gonna say, like, with that project, like it was the first time I used Houdini in any kind of character aspect, and I was blown away by the Houdini tools for for rigging, and it was so intuitive, and so um, you know I did a little internet search and found like a way to get um, the mocap file into a character relatively painlessly. Um, yeah, and then I think I was doing all my animation in Houdini and then exporting them out as Alembic files to bring into Cinema. Just because basically I've been using Cinema so long, for me to set up a whole scene in Cinema felt like very quick. It's quick for me to do. Whereas because I'm still finding my feet with Houdini, it was just kind of like, I don't know. It felt, for me, the workflow, it felt better that way, just because I could art direct the scene a little bit quicker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I wanted to ask
Enjoyed.
I wanted to ask about the things that you do for such challenges. You mentioned also that you've done the 36 days of type as a
Yes.
personal challenge as well. And as you mentioned here, you tried the animation tools in Houdini. So probably that's like an answer to my question, but I wanted to dig into it more. Like if you're whether
Yeah.
you're trying to explore like totally new areas with this kind of challenges, or rather like just to get your creative idea with the tools that you already know and feel comfortable in using, or just like this is the chance to
Yeah.
to do the safe experimentation, not with a client's project, right, where you have deadlines. It's like
Yeah.
more.
I think a bit of both. I feel like yeah, I kind of use these challenges as a way to like progress myself. Um, and I feel like, especially with the 36 days, there's so many animations. Like the moving meditation's like 6 seconds over the course of a month, so it's like, there's so much time there to play around with if you need to. Whereas the 36 days of type is like a new typeface every day. So it's like, to me, that's like the real, like that's a real challenge. So especially if you're in a situation where you don't have a lot of free time. So but I love it because it really pushes you into a space where you can like try and work to this like insane deadline and try and come up with something that resonates with people. And yeah, I feel like and also showcase your skills. But yeah, I think now I feel like, yeah, I want to try and like um, try and bring yeah, like a new energy to those challenges. Especially I've got something planned for the next 36 days of type, having a bit more animation based, I think. And yeah, trying to marry that animation and type, and have it, yeah, merge and create something special. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah, looking
I'm
forward
into it.
to that one, because I've seen like
Yeah.
you're kind of like a regular 36 days of type person.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
hopefully, like,
Yeah, I was doing like the Inktober for a few years, but this year I probably will
Yes.
will not do it because there's so much going to be happening in October for me this year. So probably I would just like overload myself if I wanted to follow
Yeah.
this one through. I
I
wanted
think
to
the
ask
like,
whether you've failed with any of these, like didn't
oh,
push through all the
all of,
36.
well, the first one we did, and I'm going to say it's not my fault, but yeah, the first one we did was right at the start of COVID. Um, so I teamed up with my work friend Akira Dawson, who's just like an amazing Houdini artist, and yeah, we decided to do like 36 days as monsters, and yeah, I would sort of, I guess, come up with a rough plan for the monster and do like a rough model, and then he'd sort of take that rough model and turn it into basically like an amazing sculpture. And yeah, and it was going really well, and yeah, I think like that was my first 36 days, and but yeah, when COVID hit, it was just like the whole world turned on its head, and in the office, we all had to transition to working from home, and yeah, all the time factors just went out the window. So I think we didn't end up finishing that one, and I think that really made me feel quite sad, and I felt like I guess like for me, I feel like quite unresolved when I haven't quite finished a project. Yeah, so although saying that, I have a million unfinished projects in my hard drive. But
Yeah.
yeah, the ones that I send out to the world, I like them to be resolved. But I think maybe one day we'll have to just resurrect those characters or do a new
Yeah.
challenge together and try and you
It's
know
like
get a
those those rock stars that are suddenly releasing all the B-sides and demos
yeah.
from
Yeah,
the backlog.
totally.
So talking about the unresolved projects, or projects that might come to realization in the future, I would like to ask you, what would be your future dream project, like a challenge, maybe a challenge that would be
Mhm.
a perfect one for you, like a
Well,
topic, or maybe a person that would
I'll tell you what.
run this kind of.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. Yeah, like I've always wanted to. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Node Fest. It's like a animation motion designer festival in Australia, Node Fest, and
Mhm.
yeah, like they do ident challenge, um, and yeah, for a few years we haven't been able to enter that, but to me that's like doing a good ident for that would just be like amazing, because I just feel like there's so many people that I respect that would be watching it, and I feel like I could, I don't know, I feel like lately I could really do it justice and create something visually unique, and yeah, so when that comes around, I think I'm gonna try and go full steam and create something awesome for that. And again, like the ones that win these challenges are the ones that just really resonate with people. They're usually like not the ones that are animated the best, or like are the prettiest. They're the ones that have got like a cool story or some a cool idea behind them. And yeah, like that. Oh man, and that moving meditations, the one with the child's room. Oh man, I love that entry so much. I was just like, that is such a cool entry. But yeah, winning that Node Fest thing, that would be my ideal. Um,
Yeah.
thing in fantasy land.
Yeah,
You
but
can only try.
yeah, sometimes that's the whole magic thing about 3D, that you can make dreams a reality, or at least partially a reality, right? A visual
Yeah.
reality. So let me maybe finish the conversation with letting our audience know where they can find your work online and follow your creative
Yes.
journeys, and maybe where they can
Okay.
find your moving meditations, like probably unless it was not fit into the mega montage because of this the technical thing that you mentioned, but
Yes.
possibly
Yeah.
maybe
I'm
maybe
I'm hoping. I'm hoping
yeah,
it
I'm hoping
will.
it was
But
like
yeah,
a
I'm
really
not.
nice it was a really nice animation, so it would be a shame if it wasn't. uh, so the mega
Yeah.
montage will be probably
Well,
out when the podcast is out. It's already going to be watchable on Punisher's YouTube channel, but
yeah. I'm quietly hopeful. But yeah, like if it's not on there, then that's my own fault.
yeah,
And
but
but yeah, you can
eventually
definitely
you can.
check it out on my Twitter feed. Uh, yeah, Twitter. I don't know. Like it's a funny place. Twitter. It's kind of full of amazing artists, but yet like a lot of crypto bros, and yeah, it's an interesting space. But
Yeah, and a lot of politics as well, and weird
yeah.
stuff as well going on. Yeah, but if you
So yeah,
if you know where
on
to
Twitter,
search.
yeah. So on Twitter, I call myself Velcro, uh, and my handle is at Grant Osborne 9. That's OSBORNE 9, and on Instagram, that's where I predominantly post most of my stuff. It's Grant Osborne, ITSGRANT and yeah, come and say hi. Don't be shy. Give us a follow. Interact with some stuff. If you feel like you want to, do a little collab or something in the future, drop us an idea. I'm all for any kind of fun things to do. Yeah, I've collabed with a couple of people from overseas that have, they've just got in touch through Instagram and said, hey, like, love your work. Do you want to do something together? And I think it's nice to just be able to do that.
Yep, great. So thank you again for being our guest, and wish you all the
Oh,
best in
thank
all
you.
the future challenges and all your work, all your future work, which I'm hoping to
I really
be
appreciate being. Sorry,
super amazing.
I really
As
appreciate. Yeah, well, I come along for the ride, and yeah, like I really appreciate you having a chat to me, and yeah, I'm looking forward to producing some good work, and yeah, I really appreciate the chat. That's been fun. Thank you.
yeah, so
And it's
thanks
nice to
again.
meet you too. Maybe we could do something in the future.
Why not? Why not?
Let's do it. All
Yeah.
right.
So till then.
This podcast is powered by therosfarm.net. Visit our webpage and check out our rendering solutions. Our service provides 24/7 tech support.